Well, I've been out of the saddle for a little bit. We had a opportunity program to cover the Turning Point USA event in Tampa as media. So I wanted to step in and see kind of the pulse of where that movement is and where it's at. And it was an enlightening experience because I saw the frivolity of putting so much of your effort in life on politics and but especially electoral games and all that because the whole event was dominated as the news cycle has reflected since then with the disappointment from almost every speaker focusing on the Jeffrey Epstein files and what to do with them and why they need to release them and it's a reminder folks that the mission of this show has always been to try to point people outside of politics, outside of elections, as the place to look for action, for things for you to do that have real meaning. And I've tried to emphasize that in various different ways, various different illustrations based on the things that I find to be the most interesting for my own self to pursue in terms of knowledge and application. So that's the takeaway message I have from this Donald Trump fiasco with Epstein is everybody has their own theories about why he's doing this or that, but it all just points back to how little results focusing and meditating and fixating our time, whatever we have outside of perhaps our career, if our career is something that's not exactly in alignment with our vocation or our mission. Some people have that opportunity where their mission, their life mission, vocation lines up with what they do for their income, but many of us don't. And so, uh, regardless, it seems like so many people focus most of their time, their free time, their whatever time, on looking at the latest political scandals, spending so much time and energy deciding who's the friend and enemy and all that. And meanwhile, nothing changes of substance with all that time spent doing nothing. Trying to wonder about, how Donald Trump met Melania Trump just does not seem like a fruitful use of our time. And whether you're pro Trump or against Trump or neutral or nuanced or whatever, this doesn't seem like what we should be focused on. So I want to tell you what I've been focusing on and what we will be focusing on. A neighbor's choice is about going beyond the problem, which is zero sum thinking. If I win, you have to lose. If I get plus one, you have to get negative one. That zero sum scarcity driven mindset is what drives us into these endless nihilistic fights over power and name games and lies and making excuses for poor behavior in all accounts and all sides. And we want to go past that. And so one of the things that I've always emphasized is we need to solve the big diseases, the chronic diseases of our last 100 years have just devastated our society, have crippled our hope, have really mangled people's hope in the future because it feels like after all the billions spent on the big, the big one, the C word and all the other diseases, diabetes and Alzheimer's and all that, there's been hundreds of billions of dollars spent on trying to resolve these things. And yet it seems like people are just getting these things even younger and earlier in life. And that just can't happen. We can't go in reverse. We got to go forward. And so I've always said that if we can resolve these diseases, it's not just the healing power and transformation of being able to move past these serious chronic diseases that people thought and still are told are genetic driven, but are actually metabolic driven. If we could resolve them, it wouldn't just be an explosion and wonder and joy from the healing of those illnesses, but also the emotional, spiritual, psychological lift and inspirational lift that would bring to our society would be so powerful we can't even put it into words just how amazing it would affect so many different areas of our lives in ways we can't even fathom. And that's what we want. We want to have a positive culture, a culture that's not despairing. And, people don't want to get up and work. They don't want to, because it feels like it's totally rigged. It feels like America is squeezed of all of its juice, all of its zest, its wonder and innocence. I mean, yesterday we saw the passing of Hulk Hogan, who was an icon of, a lot of people's eras of innocence, the 80s and the 90s, an era where people could be larger than life and have aura and overcome all odds and defeat giants. And now we don't believe we can defeat giants anymore. In fact, we're increasingly seeing that it just seems like no matter who we turn to in the political world, they're always aligned with some kind of slimy giant of evil. And that's because politics is always going to be the domain of the accuser, the domain of scapegoating, the domain of blaming and shifting blame onto somebody else to create power, momentum for your side. And, I've made that message over and over again. I don't know if it's popular, if it'll ever be popular with the algorithms, but we've continued to have a fellowship together with our audience wherever we can find an opportunity to be seen or heard. And I appreciate that. So going back to the health thing, I want to announce that we're going to do, and we've continued to do this metabolic paradigm shift, this Manhattan Project for cancer. This is this research exploration. We've done it on shows. We've done it uh, offline, but we're going to now formally put together an initiative that I'm going to be going to now to do a lab. Yes, that's right. We're going to be doing research in the lab to actually look at the simplest, cheapest, most effective, most readily available, most easy to access, easy to understand and follow protocols. We're going to look at the best, everything we can possibly examine in cell cultures and other types of research models to exhaustively pursue an answer to that major giant of a disease that shouldn't exist in the rates that it has, especially for children. So that's our goal, to put something together and to be able to publish something for the public by July 4th, 2026. That's our goal for the 275th anniversary of the United States of America. Unfortunately, this nation's government and its corporate oligarchs have, and through food and other, toxins, have spread this disease from what was an obscure disease to something that has become quite common around the world. And I think it's only poetic justice that people in the free society aspect of America, not using top-down government largesse and dictates and control, that we lead a solution outside of the paradigm that has failed us in this matter. And so if you'd like to support us in doing that, I ask that you support us. Go to a neighborschoice.com, click on contribute, and make a pledge, monthly pledge or a one-time contribution to support the work that we're going to be doing right in the lab, drawing up the data and publishing it as we get it so that the public has the right to know what are the most effective, simplest, cheapest. We're having a bias towards looking for the most affordable, the most the least man-made, the most natural. We're looking at all of those different variables for the widest types and stages of that disease, and then we're going to report the findings that we get. And I hope that you will enjoy it. We're going to be using techniques in a molecular biological setting that are different from anything that we've seen out there in the public for papers. Something that will go beyond the conventional standards for cell culture and actually provide more unique insights into how these diseases happen, what's causing them at the cellular level, how we can metabolically perhaps overcome some of these problems. We want to provide all the details to you, but we're going to need your support. I'm jumping out, like with the parachute in the plane, and just walking, as they say, with faithfulness, that everything's going to come together and move forward. I can't sit around and wait around and twiddle my thumbs for other people to do these things. In fact, I'm inspired by other people who are out there pioneering research, many of the ones that you've seen on this show. And I will be consulting with them and talking with them along the way as we look to tackle this problem and contribute to this field as well and give this information to the public. So again, if you want to support us in this, we're starting with the big C word itself, the big one, because we feel like, just like if you would think of diseases as kind of like psychological bullies and physical bullies that rob us of our joy and our energy and our ability to have quality of life and positive moments. If you think of it that way, and you think about the excess pain that these things and their protocols to treat them cause, you can see that the C word is kind of like the bully in the yard, the biggest dog in the yard, for in terms of the culture's perception. And if we can take that Goliath down with a little pebble, then what more could that provide for hope and inspiration for all the other diseases that we will also be examining in the future as well? Because these metabolic processes that result in one disease are often related to these various other diseases. So, what causes them is a similar cascade of stress, environmental effects, and what seems to help resolve and help with these illnesses could also be very similar for other diseases. And so that will be helpful. I hope that we can make some really significant contributions to this space for the understanding to the public. And I will do everything I can to get this information out to the public in every media outlet that will give us a hearing, because we're going to need your support. You know, our show gets throttled and whatever, you know, algorithms do to kind of keep us as the best kept secret in media. But influential people just like you listen to this show, and people spread the word, and people who have great influence in society have listened to the show. And I know that because I interacted with them. And I know that there's some big movers and shakers out there of every sort. And we need all of your support. We need all of you to reach out. So email me hello@aneighborschoice.com. That's hello@aneighborschoice.com. And let us know if you have questions about what we're doing, if you'd like to contribute, if you'd like to contribute with your ideas, with your expertise. We're going to need all hands on deck because this is a citizen-driven initiative, a voluntary initiative of folks who are ready to roll up their sleeves and not just talk about how we need solutions and actions, but actually enact and incarnate the actions and solutions ourselves. So pray for us in that endeavor. And that's what I will be doing. I'll be traveling for a while to do these research projects, and I look forward to documenting this along the way. I also want to let you know that we will be going to the Albuquerque to cover the Tesla Tech conference, where Dr. Yu, who is out there fighting for his information and his ideas, his work, his theory of everything, the Yuan theory, is something that Dr. Yu has been writing up in his own papers, his own ideas. And I think that having him, and I'm going to announce this, I haven't really talked about it a lot, but I put together Dr. Yu, NASA physicist and chief science advisor for A Neighbor's Choice, will be the keynote speaker for the Tesla Tech conference in August. You can watch it online. There's details. You can go to their website, Tesla Tech, and learn how to watch it online. He will be keynoting the event with Terrence Howard, the actor, who the two of them have become friends and got to know each other. And they don't agree on everything, but they share a common critique of the establishment approach to physics, and that makes for an interesting dialogue. And I was happy to be able to put both of those as the keynote speaking slot at the Tesla Tech conference in August, the beginning of the early part of August in Albuquerque. So I'll be attending that and documenting that event, and we're going to continue to push the theory of everything that Dr. Yu has developed and explain it and have the applications for it in various fields of knowledge and science. At the same time, we do the science of medicine and rethink the metabolic paradigm as how it could be effective in solving our health problems. So, folks, we are putting our money and our life and our time and our energy and our everything into the very things that we've been talking about. Everything that I've been talking about out of my mouth, we are incarnating to make real things happen, because I realize that, again, media is not enough. Media is extremely essential. And you can't do it without the media, because you need to be able to have the truth and revealed and modeled for people in various different formats. And we're happy to contribute to that. And I appreciate all you who support us and comment, do all that. We'll continue to do programs like this, but we'll do them a little bit less frequently in the summer now, as I continue to be on scene for both the work we're doing in the physics world and the world of atoms there, and also in the world of cells and metabolic health and the great things that we've learned along the way from our friends there. So that's what we have to do, folks. We have to stay positive. We have to work our tails off to not give up, to think creatively, to pursue the truth. A commenter frequently comments on our YouTubes and everything, said recently that um, was asking me to comment about this organ donor controversy, and I haven't seen too much of the details, but I have seen in the past that it seems like people are too hasty to take a people apart, literally. We've atomized ourselves to the point where we've become so hasty to disregard the dignity of human life. And is that not a picture of what we've become in some sense? This idea that people could be, God forbid, being having their organs harvested when they're not even fully dead, and they're reacting in some ways. I mean, it's so ghastly and so horrifying. And I've heard about this problem for a few years, but I don't know this story in detail. But it does seem on a bigger picture to point to what has gone wrong in our society, that we have cheapened life, I'm very spiritually weary about the cheapening of human life. That even Christians get so sucked up into where they're they're de-emphasizing the dignity of these people, like in Gaza or Russians or Ukrainians or whatever side people are against. It's just sad. In 2025 AD, 2025 years since Christ came and changed the world with the personhood revolution and dignified the human person, that we have made great strides, but at the same time, we have these nasty tendencies still boiling up that are so pernicious, where people are, justifying the bombing of churches because there's not enough. There's only a few hundred Catholics in Gaza now, and so somehow that justifies wanton disregard for human life. That you can just see it like a football game. It's horrible. That's the zero sum nasty mindset at its worst. At its worst, and making excuses for these horrible Epstein networks because it's some kind of calculation for this or that. That's the nastiness, the frivolity, the folly of politics in a nutshell, right there, folks. But here we are, and we're pursuing a breath of fresh air. And I don't know anybody else doing what we're doing. We're not just a media show, but we're actually putting things into reality, helping labs get their studies done, or going and helping a Theory of Everything book get published, like what we're doing with Dr. Yu's work, to change the game of how we understand the physical world and how that might help to find new innovations in the world of energy and transportation, and how biology and physics can come together in really fun and innovative ways. Because these projects will not be in isolation. There will be a cross-talk dialogue between the work that we do in the biological sphere and the work that we're going to continue to do in the physics sphere. And it'll be just so exciting to see what happens. I can't think of anything more exciting and delightful to do with my time than to pursue, um, wonderful potential breakthroughs of knowledge and truth of God's creation, both of human life and the flourishing of it, and the flourishing of our understanding of how to use matter in a way that's uh, more beautiful and more extravagant and glorious than we've used it in the past. So again, thank you for your patience. I'm sorry we haven't been able to do as many shows recently. As you can tell, my voice is a little hoarse. I was just totally didn't have a voice for quite some time there. But it's coming back, and I hope that I can do some more programs on the road while I'm traveling and going here and there. But know that I'm working hard to try to get things done. Feels like I'm trying to run for office or something, but that's the farthest I want. I think the real solutions will lie outside the city. Just like Christ, he got his work done outside the city, outside Jerusalem, outside of the camp of power. And that's always where God says, my power is made perfect in weakness. We don't have billions. We don't have millions. We don't even have thousands to work with, but we're doing what we can every day to do a lot with the little that God has blessed it. Well, God's blessed us richly, but just in terms of people's measurement of what is success. Or do you own Daily Wire? Do you have big TV show deals? Do you have, all this, money and all these things? No, we don't have that. But what we do have is the truth, and we have a joy in pursuing it. And I hope that this is a mission that you can help us with. We couldn't have done the things that we've done without you guys being loyally supportive of us, and the people who have contributed to us. We'll continue to do programs And I do just want to, again, remind you to go to aneighborschoice.com, click on contribute, and make a pledge, a monthly pledge, anything you can chip in to help us with the expenses that's going to be required to do these different things. And if you want more details or want to talk, you can always reach out to us, hello@aneighborschoice.com, to have more information about the different projects that I've mentioned so far. So again, I appreciate your time. I thank you for everything you guys are doing. Don't put your faith in princes. Don't raise them up so high and then crash them down so low. We don't have to play the game. We don't have to hate person or love them, or I used to love them and now I hate them and all this stuff. Don't have to draw into that. It's a waste of time. Do what you can to bring joy and positivity to this world. Do what you can to improve yourself every day, to pursue the joy of the Lord as your strength. That's the only thing that sustains myself, is to look at the ways in which I can try to cultivate joy in my heart, so that I don't slink into the despair of the world, where you're just pursuing money for the sake of money, power for the sake of power. That meaninglessness is so awful. And it reminds me of the never-ending story, where the battle that they were all facing was the nothing, right? And I think that nothing feeling has had some wins in a lot of ways, but its overreach has also opened up a lot of avenues for great awakenings of the truth. The truth, as St. Augustine said, you don't have to fight it for it. You don't have to defend it. Let it loose and it'll defend itself. It's like a lion. And so that's what we're going to pursue. I thank you for your time. I'm David Gornoski. Godspeed.
Like a